Hey guys, OddsAre here, bringing you guys my Week 8 battle for the APA Academy. Yeah, you guys are hearing that, alright? We are in the APA Academy now. We actually took over for a coach that ended up having to drop due to, personal life reasons and stuff like that, unfortunately. But we were lucky enough to receive the opportunity to take over for the team and be able to finish out the season on a team, too, that has a small playoff chance. We are currently 3-4 with this team, but if we do win out and, depending on how things pan out with the other coaches and their results of their games, we could definitely still make the playoffs. So I'm not going to do a draft analysis for this team. Not necessarily this season. I say this team because this is literally the only week where you're using it, and that's not because of drops. That's because if you haven't been keeping up with Academy or just the APA main league, they're doing a new format to where every 4 weeks you'll draft a new team and you'll completely get rid of the team you had before. So weeks 1 through 4, you'll have your first team that you draft, and then 5 through 8, which is this being week 8. This is the last team that will be using this team, and then weeks 9 through 12 you'll use another team, which I will be doing the draft analysis for when that time does come. And then if you do make playoffs, you can make kind of like an all-star dream team out of your a mixture of your first 3, as long as they still hit the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3s kind of requirement type thing, which is very awesome. I'm really excited. Again, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to step in and take over this team just to finish out the season strong, hopefully. One more thing, as you notice, this is a different layout. That is because a little bit of a rerun. We do have a new team. Big shout outs to my buddy John Jr. He I kind of wanted to separate and kind of have my own kind of new, more original name, in all honesty. When I did the Golden State War Turtles, it is a bit infamous just because a lot of people have used that name in the past. It's just kind of known infamously for that. I am from that area, so I always thought it was cool. I kind of just wanted my own thing, though. I still will be using the War Turtles in certain leagues because they do hold a dear place in my heart. I love my War Turtles logo, too, that I had made for me. I definitely do love that team, but I do want to have kind of my own thing, and this will be actually the debut of the Miami Mence. And I'm going to throw the logo up on the screen right here. Again, big shout out to John Jr. This logo is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. And then shout out to Odds for this for this layout, just like he did with the one for our new War Turtles layout. Both of them look absolutely amazing, so they will be in the description below. Again, huge shout outs to them. I absolutely love this logo. It's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. But with housekeeping out of the way, let's just jump into the actual bulk and meat of the video. I am going to do a little team builder just like I do in all my other games, just to kind of give you guys a rundown of the 6 I'm bringing, why I'm bringing them, reasonings for movesets, EVs, and stuff like that. So, right off the bat, again, no draft analysis, but the team that we are using this week consists of Megalopony, Jirachi, Tangrowth, Tapu Fini, Gengar, Seismitoad, Rotom Heat, Tyrantrum, Sneasel, Masquerain, and Clefairy. Very, very nice team. Actually, really like it. I wish we could use it a little bit longer. But I digress. And then my opponent, who I haven't mentioned yet, is AAron2420 and his Calgary Infernapes. His team consists of the Mega Diancie, Zapdos, Suicune, Cobalion, Zygarde 10%, Uxie, Moltres, Virizion, Regirock, Meloetta, and Hoopa Unbound. So right off the bat, very, very scary team. Biggest stretch to me right off the bat, the Mega Diancie is always scary. It's one of my favorite Megas in the format. I absolutely love using Mega Diancie. I've used it so many times. It just punches holes through teams, and it can be amazing late game, with a Rock Polish up. Can potentially call Mind on us. It does have access to Stealth Rocks, stuff like that. I don't think it'll be as rocker this game, but it's very, very good versus us. We do have a couple checks to it, but nothing like concrete, oh, we can stop this thing. Zapdos is very annoying for our team to break. Very, very, very annoying, actually. So we are going to have to play correctly around that thing. The Cobalion can definitely be a huge threat, especially if it's SD. I don't really have a switch into SD Cobalion. Not many teams do. It's very good, with an SC up. However, we do have a couple checks to it. Just typically, we do have some things that outspeed it as well. Even if it does get a Swords Dance up, as long as it doesn't get a Dual Dance up on us, I don't think it's necessarily going to sweep through us unless we let a bunch of pieces go down, stuff like that. And then the Meloetta Pirouette actually is incredibly good versus me. So if he does get off a Relic Song and he gets into the Pirouette form, which is the normal fighting type, our team doesn't switch Noelle to it at all. I don't think it's going to come though. Simply because of the Gengar on our team, on our roster, is so threatening versus his team. I think he needs it as a check to that, because we can honestly just run through everything. The only thing that would outspeed us is the Zygarde 10%. and we have a Tangrowth. And a Tapu Fini and stuff like that, and we have a Mega Lopunny that outspeeds unless he's running Scarf or something like that. So yeah, those are going to be the biggest threats right off the bat. But with that being said, let's just jump right in to the team builder and all that stuff. First off, we have our Tapu Fini right here, rocking with the leftovers, Misty Surge ability, obviously, Calm Mind, Taunt, Moonblast, and Surf, 252 HP. Say, no, I'm blocking my own view. 108 defense, 24 speed def, and 124 speed with a timid nature. So the this is going to serve as our main Suicune check. I think our team, I think Tapu Fini in general just kind of deters Suicune from becoming. This is probably one of the best checks in the format to it. Literally all I can do is Scald us, and Scald is doing pretty much next to nothing, honestly. With us resisting it and the leftovers recovery and just our naturally amazing, 130 speed def. And Taunt just shuts down any shenanigans and wants to go if he wants to, kind of pressure stall us or something like that. Taunt just does stop that thing in its tracks. We are creeping, speed-wise, we are creeping an Adamant or a Modest Hoopa. I didn't want to go any more than that. I wanted to, because I could have crept Timid, potentially, or, Jolly, but then we lost out on a lot of bulk. Specifically, the amount of bulk we could go for a Banded Zygarde. With this investment, with the 108 defense and max HP, we do take 2 Jolly Banded Zygarde 1,000 arrows, and then I just threw the rest into Super Def because it wasn't, super needed. But this Tapu Fini is going to be great this game. It's a great win con late game. If he's not running a lot of speed on his Zapdos, we can outspeed it with some chip, like a +1 Surf, or Moonblast is doing a huge chunk to that. He doesn't, unless I'm totally wrong, I don't believe he has, a designated Fairy resist on his team. Well, he has the Moltres, but we can hit that with the Surf. His Steel type is neutral Fairy, so Tapu Fini is really, really good at this. Nothing wants to switch in on a +1 Moonblast whatsoever. This also can check stuff like Mega Diancie, and Cobalion to an extent, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's going to be Tapu Fini. Next up, we have our Gengar, rocking out with the Darkinium Z, Curse Body, Shadow Ball, Disable, Substitute, and Dark Pulse. Max Special Attack, 4 Speed Def, and Max Speed with a Timid nature. So, if you guys didn't know, the APA Academy and the APA main, it's a free Z move league. So anything on either team can run Z. So I decided to use that on our Gengar this week. We're rocking out the Darkinium Z because Dark Pulse into Darkinium Z pretty much knocks out any Meloetta. Unless he's honestly, I don't remember off the top of my head. I think if he's max HP, max Speed Def, Assault Vest, he has a chance to live it. But I don't necessarily think that's the most optimal set to bring versus me. I definitely could see AV coming, though. That's for sure. And I believe a Dark Pulse into a Darkinium Z can definitely knock that thing out, or at least bring it down super, super low. We're running Sub-Disable, which is really cool because beyond Shadow Ball and the Dark Pulse for the Meloetta, we hit pretty much everything on his team. And Sub-Disable is really cool versus stuff like the Cobalion or the Virizion, or even the Meloetta if he's only running a Psychic move to hit us and he's, has coverage for other stuff otherwise. If we can sub and then disable that move, we can kind of effectively wall them. I wish we did have the Black Sludge for Sub-Disable set, obviously, just to get that, residual recovery and stuff like that. But we do have a Wish Pass on later on the team, spoilers, to potentially, mend that and get us back up a little bit if we can. But yeah, I think Sub-Disable will definitely catch him off guard, especially if he sees Z beforehand. It's definitely not a set you see, with that. Usually you'll have, Black Sludge or a Barrier or something like that, but typically Black Sludge. But yeah, we're running max speed just to always speed tie the Mega Diancie, just in case we need to outspeed that, knock it out with a Shadow Ball, or if he's, being aggressive and creeping something else, we can, potentially outspeed it and knock it out with some chip, which is very, very nice. And yeah, so that is going to be our Gengar. Next up, we have our Mega Lopunny right here, with the Scrappy ability, Baton Pass, Return, Drain Punch, and Cosmic Power, 132 HP, 172 attack, and 204 speed with a Jolly nature. The speed right here is allowing us to outpace a Meloetta Pirouette form if it is, max speed Jolly. Just in case that does come, like I said, it's a very, very big threat, and if we get any chip on it, then Drain Punch will knock it out. We just need a tiny bit of chip on it, maybe a couple Rock Switch and something like that, which I definitely think we can do with this team. This is a great way of revenging it. Obviously, it won't be Scarfed because it has to click Relic Song to get into that form first, and then if it's Scarfed and Relic Song, you get the deal. But yeah, so we are running Baton Pass because Lopunny forces a lot of switches, in particular in this matchup, and we're running it alongside the move Cosmic Power to potentially pass some Cosmic Powers to the next member on our team, which I will get into in a second, which is going to be our win con this week. I'm really excited for that kind of like 1-2 punch of those two. But he does have things that can check the Mecha Lopunny pretty well, especially early game stuff like the Zapdos, Suicune if it comes, I suppose Moltres if it comes. I think if Moltres comes, it'll be offensive. I think defensive Zapdos does everything that Moltres does in this matchup, just better. You know, he has the Uxie. They can also check this thing early game if it is, you know, super chips and stuff like that. So if we can potentially get a Cosmic Power up on a switch and then baton pass into our next member, it can be very, very nice. That being said, our next member is going to be our Tyrantrum here with the Lumberry Rockhead ability, Dragon Dance, Head Smash, Earthquake, Dragon Claw, 60 HP, 252 attack, and 236 speed with an Atom in Nature. So look at Tyrantrum and look at my opponent's team. He has 0 switches for it. I almost brought Scarf because it was just great speed control, and Scarf Head Smash kind of just knocked things out. But I wanted to get that attack boost as well. +1 Head Smash just runs through our opponent's team. Everything that doesn't want to take a Head Smash doesn't like an Earthquake or a Dragon Claw, which is, you know, obviously very, very nice. The 60 HP allows us to actually live a close combat from Virizion and Cobalion from full. Not before Rocks, we have a chance to live after Rocks. But, you know, before Rocks, we always live that from full, and we can potentially Dragon Dance up if we know the Cobalion is Shuka or something like that, or it's chipped in range of a, you know, a +1 Earthquake. I think that could be very, very valuable. And then the 236 speed is for a no-speed Zapdos. We can outspeed that and knock it out with a Head Smash, which is very nice. This pairs really well with Lopunny, because if he does go into the Zapdos as his main check to the Lopunny or something like that, I can baton pass, get +1 to Tyrantrum, and that thing turns into absolute setup fodder. Even if he's like T-Wave, we do have the Lumberry to, you know, potentially heal off that paralysis, or if he's static as well, and Terrain isn't up, that's amazing. And if Terrain's up, then it's 100% setup fodder. I think at +1, I don't know if we're 3-hit KO'd by Hidden Power Ice, but I don't think he'll stay in to find out. And even if he goes out, nothing really can OHKO us at that point either. Besides maybe the Mega Diancie, which we definitely knock out with a +1 Earthquake, and we will just attack that thing 150%. And then if he wants to go into something in the Zygarde, I believe the Zygarde can probably knock us out with +1 with like a Banded Arrows or a Banded Outrage or something like that, but it definitely won't take a +1 Dragon Claw whatsoever. So we definitely will just attack those guys. Otherwise, we can kind of just click the setup button on things like Suicune as well. We can't be burned by Scald. If he goes into Moltres hoping for the Flame Body, if we have Terrain up, or if we have our Lumberry active, we can, you know, potentially avoid this the burn on that, which is absolutely amazing. So Tyrantrum, honestly, late game, if we can position it right and get that Cosmic Power pass into it, I really, really do think it can put in a lot of work and potentially win us this game. So yeah. Next up, we have our Tangrowth rocking out with the Assault Vest and Regenerator ability, Rock Slide, Hidden Power Ice, Giga Drain, and Earthquake, 252 HP, 108 defense, and 148 speed def with a sassy nature. So this Tangrowth right here, it is going to serve as our Zygarde check. It's a great pivot in general, but it's mostly going to be our Zygarde check. We can take a +1 Dragonium Z after Rocks, which is absolutely amazing. We absolutely eat it up, actually. And we're never 2-hit KO'd by things like the Diancie, so it actually gives us a pretty decent pivot into Diancie as well. If our next mon, which is going to be our main Diancie check, is weakened or something like that, or even gone, we can definitely still check that thing pretty well, which is really, really, really nice. You know, just having that option and stuff like that. So yeah, that is going to be our Tangrowth great pivot this game. Just kind of a blanket check to a good majority of his team. Stuff like the Cobalion, if it's weakened, we can knock it out with an Earthquake. The Virizion as well, if he's you know, physical, or even if he's Calm Mind, being that we're Assault Vest, we can, you know, probably take that on decently well. At least do a little bit of a chunk to it with Hidden Power Ice. Maybe pivot in and out on that. We probably lose to a Calm Mind Virizion 1v1. That's besides the point. But yeah. So lastly, we are going to have our Jirachi right here. Shuka Berry, Serene Grace ability, Stealth Rock, Wish, Iron Head, and U-Turn. 248 HP, 20 attack, 4 defense, 224 speed def, and 12 speed with a careful nature. So this is going to serve as our Mega Diancie check. Even without the Sugar Berry, we are never 2-hit KO'd by a Earth Power from a timid Diancie, which is absolutely amazing. Because we can potentially wish up on that thing, you know, U-turn out, get a slow U-turn, Iron Head, This is going to be a great Rockruff game because Diancie definitely doesn't want to switch in on a Jirachi, and if we can get Rock Salt, that really helps, you know, in beating that Zapdos down and stuff like that, because honestly, the only thing we really have to straight punish that Zapdos is going to be our Tyrantrum, which makes it even more important, but Stealth Rocks definitely help us in that cause, which is great. And then we also have U-Turn just for, you know, pivoting around on switches and stuff like that, and the likely Diancie switch out and stuff like that. Or, you know, if the Cobalion comes in, we definitely don't want to be set up fodder for that, because as you can see, we can't really touch it with this set. I really did want to put, I had a couple different ideas, over U-Turn, potentially having Protect, just so we can for sure get that Wish up, having T-Wave, but then we also have our own terrain, which kind of hurts that. Toxic Furs, flying types like the Zapdos and the Moltres and stuff like that, definitely was like my next closest move I was going to pick, but I unfortunately, you know, decided against it. And U-Turn just kind of just gives us great pivoting options and stuff like that, getting in our threats like our Gengar, our Megalopony, our Tyrantrum and stuff like that. And then our 12 speed investment is just to creep any creeps he wants to go for. If he's creeping a no speed Jirachi, we will outspeed that. And yeah, so that's going to be the team. Let's jump right into the battle. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. So looking at the team that Aaron elected to bring, looks like he went with the Cobalion, Regirock, Meloetta, Hoopa Unbound, Mega Diancie, and Zapdos. So nothing too crazy. Again, biggest threats right off the bat obviously are going to be that Mega Diancie. I don't switch into it super well. The Cobalion can definitely be a threat if it does get out of hand, and you know, it's like a setup variant. Like honestly, Calm Mind is pretty scary versus me if he is that set. And then the Zapdos is an absolute pain for me to deal with. I don't break that thing very well at all. I just kind of have to outplay it and put him in a position to where he, you know, just gradually gets chipped down and put into a range. The other thing I do have that, you know, initially just walls it is going to be breaks it is going to be our Tyrantrum. So hopefully we can put ourselves in a position in which we can pass a couple baton passes with Lopunny into Tyrantrum on something like the Regirock potentially, or the Zapdos. So yeah, that is going to be kind of my initial thoughts. I am going to lead off with my Gengar right off the bat, because I do expect either a Regirock lead to get up rocks or a Cobalion lead to potentially get up rocks, Volt Switch out, or something like that as well. So I'm going to lead off with my Gengar because it does pressure both of them pretty decently well and stuff like that. So yeah, here we go. We're going to jump into the battle. It's a bit of a, you know, a little bit of lag, a little late. As right here we are going to lead off with our Gengar, as we see Aaron leads off with his Cobalion. So this is a good lead matchup for us. I don't think he wants to risk staying in if we are Will-O-Wisp if he's physical, or, you know, Focus Blast or Z Focus Blast, something like that. We can honestly do a huge chunk of this thing, and it can't really OHKO us in return. So right here he's going to pull Switch out into his Zapdos as I substitute, expecting him to switch out. If not, if he goes for an attacking move that can hit me, I can just go for Disable the next turn. So right here, I'm going to throw off the Shadow Ball. Just a quick heads up about this game in particular. We played this game and got through a good majority of it, and we actually ended up DCing. So some of the plays right here aren't going to make too much sense, but I'll explain them when they happen. We did it to kind of recreate hacks. For example, on this next turn, I am going to disable this Zapdos's discharge. Actually, on the first Shadow Ball as well, I do get a Spadef drop in the original game as well. So I am going to disable right here, as he can't go for the discharge. In the original battle, on the next substitute, he goes for Heat Wave, and he actually ends up missing, which is very big, you know, and being able to, you know, chip this thing down. That plus the minus Spadef was really big. It actually ended up letting me chip this down in Zapdos a lot. He is going to hit the Heat Wave this time as he goes for it and breaks my sub, but to kind of mirror the effect of what happened in the real game, he is just going to spam Defog right here, as I'm able to kind of spam Shadow Ball against his Zapdos right here. So we do just go for another Shadow Ball as he goes for a Defog right here. In the original game, he was, you know, right around, he was in the red after the second Shadow Ball. Due to the Spadef drop and stuff like that. He was able to hit the second Heat Wave in the original game, so we did end up, you know, not behind his sub, unfortunately, and then we're just going to throw off another Shadow Ball right here, and potentially knocking this thing out. Yep, we do. So that is very, very nice. We are able to take out the Zapdos, which was the biggest defensive nuisance to our team, in all honesty, which is honestly really good. So this is another instance in which, I'm going to pause it really quick because this is another one I have to explain. This is another instance where in the original game, I do pull a switch out. He does go into the Hoopa in the original game, and he predicts me and he goes for a Gunk Shot, which is a great play on Aaron's part, realizing that I don't want to leave in my Gengar if this thing is potentially Scarf. So I am going to pull switch out into my Tangrowth, and he does hit it in the original game, and I didn't know if he was originally Scarf in the original game, so I end up sacking off my Tangrowth, not wanting to try and pivot in on the Gunk Shot if you just went for Hyperspace in the second turn. So right here, I'm going to go into Tangrowth like I originally did, but he ends up missing. So right here, just to kind of make things a bit easier to where he doesn't have to take any damage, I'm going to switch out into my Jirachi. He's going to go for another Gunk Shot right here, and then I just pull the switch right back out into my Tangrowth, just to hopefully let him hit this next Gunk Shot, which is the sentence I didn't think I'd ever hear myself say. But we do go into the Tangrowth right here as he does get off the Gunk Shot right here, and you're going to see it does a huge chunk. This does tell me that he is not a boosting item like Banded, and we obviously didn't see Life Orb Chip, so he's either, like Extra Belt, or he's a Choice Scarf or something like that, or, none of the above. He could just be Z or something like that. So he's going to go for another Gunk Shot right here and take out our Tangrowth, unfortunately, so we even the game up, 5-5. Tangrowth wasn't very, very important. It was mainly here to stop the Zygarde and, check his physical threats like Cobalion if they were physical, in fact. So right here, I'm going to go into my Lopunny and threaten this thing out, because if it's Scarf, it can't hit me with a Psychic move, and if it's locked in a Gunk Shot, I can 2-tap it with, Frustration or something like that. So we are going to throw off our Mega, as he ends up pulling the switch out into the Regirock as we go for I believe, a Frustration right here, which is totally fine. This thing isn't too scary versus me, in all honesty. And I'm going to take this as an opportunity to set up some Cosmic Powers right in front of this Regirock's face. I expect he'll, either go for an attack, go for a counter, get up his rock, something like that, as he ends up going for the Toxic right here, which is annoying for the Lopunny. It does lower his longevity, especially if it was a more bulky Lop, but not the biggest deal in the world, in all honesty. This shows that he doesn't really have much to hit me, most likely, and I'm going to go for a second Cosmic Power right here, getting up to +2/+2, and you're going to see this Regirock throws off an Earthquake right here. Oh, no, this is another instance. He actually missed the first Toxic in the first battle. I totally forgot. So he missed a Toxic in the first battle, so to mirror that, he went for another Toxic right there, as I went for my second Cosmic Power. And this right here, this next turn, I'm allowed to go for a Drain Punch, get a little bit of health back, just chip this thing down. I don't want to Baton Pass out just yet. I want to chip this thing down as much as possible, put it in for sure range of my Tyrantrum and stuff like that. So you're going to see this Earthquake does -2 damage, basically. If he wasn't Toxic, then I could have gotten +6/+6 on this Regirock, on all honesty. So right here, I'm going to go for another Drain Punch right here, put him down into the red, and get a good decent amount of health back right here as he goes for another Earthquake. Again, doing very little, but the poison damage is starting to rack up. And this next turn, in fact, is actually where I'm going to decide to Baton Pass out into my Tyrantrum, as he shows us the Custap Berry right here. And he does end up just, I believe, going for Stealth Rocks, yeah. So he's going to get up his Rocks right here, which is actually totally fine. I'm actually glad that this was Custap, because it gets me a slow Baton Pass out into my Tyrantrum, so I don't have to take any extra chip other than the Rocks that just went up, but that's not the biggest deal, in all honesty. Letting me come in for free does definitely help the longevity and stuff like that, and, potentially letting a hit from something like the Cobalion, or the Meloetta or something like that. So I'm going to come in right here. I'm going to go for a Dragon Dance right here and get +1 speed, +1 attack as he goes for the Earthquake. And you're going to see this Earthquake does like 30 damage because we're at +2 defense, which is, pretty funny. Tyrantrum does have good natural bulk, but the fact that it took literally like 30 damage from that Earthquake is pretty hilarious in my opinion. So right here, I am just going to go for Earthquake. I don't want this thing Toxic. Now that I'm getting pretty low, I am potentially in range of like a Cobalion hit, something like that, if he is shook in the back. But the Regirock does go down to our Tyrantrum, which is great, because that thing was pretty annoying for our team. And he goes out into Cobalion right here. This screams that he's Shooka. However, he can never knock me out in one hit, with Cobalion at this range, being that I am +2/+2. I throw off the Earthquake right here. We're going to see that he does pop the Sugar Berry indeed, and he takes less than half from this +1 Earthquake, so he eats it up pretty well, but he's definitely in range of another one right here. As he just goes for the Flash Cannon, which we do end up living on about 13, so I am glad that we did get that slow baton pass like I was saying earlier, because if we did take, 2 Earthquakes, we were actually in range of that Flash Cannon from the Cobalion. So right here, we're able to throw off another Earthquake and take out the Cobalion, which is absolutely amazing. Tyrantrum is looking like it's in a beautiful spot to sweep as he goes into the Hoopa, and right here, if he is not Scarf Hoopa unbound, I win this game 150%, but unfortunately he is, so he is able to outspeed us and knock us out with the Hyperspace Fury, which is unfortunate, but this also just gives us great information that, his Hoopa is obviously Choice Scarfed, and this gives us another switch right out into our Lopunny right here, which is great because, free switching is always super nice. Being that he's at -1, he's definitely in range of a Frustration, and in all honesty, being that he is in range of the Frustration, I don't expect him to go into the Meloetta because he would be, potentially 2-tap of that. So I'm going to go for Drain Punch because it is neutral on the Diancie. And pre-Mega, it doesn't take too much damage, but it does give us a decent amount of health back, which is very nice. Upping our longevity and stuff like that. So this next turn, I am just going to go for a Baton Pass as he throws out the Mega with his Diancie. Even if he predicts us and goes for the Earth Power right here, we do live 2 of those with Shuka into regular, and nothing left on his team really wants to take an Iron Head or a U-turn in the case of Hoopa and Meloetta. So right here we go right into our Jirachi, which is very nice as he ends up going for the Moonblast, so don't even have to worry about proccing our Shuka right away. Gives us a little bit more health and stuff like that. The Moonblast is pretty much nothing, in all honesty. So he is going to go for the Earth Power right here. We eat our Shuka Berry, and I contemplated U-turning right here just in case he wanted to save the Diancie, but there was honestly no reason for it. That would be overplaying on my end, in all honesty. So I am just going to go for the Iron Head and knock out the Diancie right here. So down goes the Diancie. That leaves him with 2 mons left, being the Meloetta and the Hoopa. Right here, he's going to go into Hoopa. I don't really have a switch in for this thing anymore. I think I need to keep Feeny in the back healthy so to where I can live potentially a Gunk Shot in the back. So I'm just going to sack off my Jirachi as it did its job. It took on the Diancie and knocked it out, and I don't really need it for any other reason, in all honesty. The best it can do is maybe Iron Head, flinch a really slow Meloetta or something like that. So down goes our Jirachi, as I am going to go straight into my Lopunny, and he is at -1 defense, so again, he is in frustration range, but unfortunately here I make a bit of a misplay, in all honesty. I should have just gone for the Frustration. It did the most amount of damage. I should have been worried about my health at this point. I wasn't really living a hit from either the Meloetta or the Hoopa at this point anymore, but I end up going for the Drain Punch. I still get a sizable chunk on this Meloetta, but you're going to see he is a pretty fat set, and based on that prior damage with Drain Punch, I don't believe I can knock him out with the Frustration, but I don't really have a switch in otherwise, so I am just going to go for the Frustration, get some damage off on this thing. As you're going to see, he is just barely able to live in the red, and go for the Psychic, which does knock out our Lopunny. So right here, we're left with 2 mons on our team right now. I don't want to go into Feeny and take unnecessary shit, because if he is a very fast Meloetta, then obviously he does, Psychic or Hyper Voice and put us in range of a Hoopa Gunk Shot, which is not what we want, but I know I can definitely outspeed it with our Gengar. And right here, I'm just going to throw off the Darkinium Z. It did the most damage to the Hoopa if it wanted to come in on me and be aggressive, and it obviously completely knocked out this Meloetta, and if for some reason he was like Protect Lefties or something like that, it hit through the Protect, which on all honesty wasn't a big deal because Dark Pulse would have knocked out right after it anyways. So I am just going to go for the nice little Black Hole Eclipse, suck up that Meloetta and knock it out, which is great because that leaves Hoopa against the world, and he doesn't want to lock into Zen Headbutt because I can potentially live 2 if I am a bulkier Tapu Fini, and he doesn't want to lock into Gunk Shot because my Gengar right here can actually live a Gunk Shot. But regardless, my play is to stay in, and right here I click Disable, just because I know for a fact he is Scarf, and if he goes for Gunk Shot, I can, disable that move and force him to struggle, but we actually get the Curse Body. So the Disable doesn't get off, but the same difference in all honesty, as he ends up going for the Struggle right here, because he obviously is faster than us, but because of Scarf, but he doesn't have, the ability to switch up moves. So our Gengar goes down to a Struggle, which is pretty cool. I can't say that I've had a Mondai to struggle in a league match yet. So I thought that was pretty funny. And right here I can go into my Feeny. Another struggle will put him in range of Moonblast because there's 1/4 per turn. I believe we did like 55 min with Moonblast with our investment to a Noble Koopa. So he's going to go for a struggle right here. Take a little bit more chip as we go for the Moonblast, and we are able to knock out this Hoopa and pick up a nice 1-0 victory over AAron2420. So great game to Aaron. It was a lot of fun. I've honestly never played I've never played a game in which, you know, I was able to bring a fat baton past Lopunny. There was a sub-disabled Gengar making a Hoopa struggle kill. There was a lot of cool stuff that happened this game. And big shout outs to Aaron also for sticking with me through DCing on my end, honestly, and being willing and able to replay this game with me and stuff like that, just so we could you know, have that nice Wi-Fi quality and stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy our first Academy video, be sure to subscribe. I should be having a draft analysis for the final 4 weeks going up sometime in the next couple days. I don't know exactly when, but it will be going up, explaining those picks. And then next week, our next battle, this game puts us at 4-4, which is great because we are definitely in playoff contention. If we can do pretty well, I believe we have to win like 3 of our next 4 pretty much to like guarantee ourselves a spot. But it would be really awesome to come into a league week 8 and potentially win the whole thing. And I really like the team that we end up getting for our 4th draft. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Later.